The SEC delivered one of the most historic seasons in college basketball history last year, sending 14 teams to the NCAA tournament, with 2 making it to the Final Four and the eventual national champion in the Florida Gators. And with college basketball tipping off in less than a month, we are ranking every team in the SEC ahead of the new season. But before we jump into our rankings, if you enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. And now, let's jump into it. And starting off our rankings and coming in at number 16 in the SEC is South Carolina, and the Gamecocks are hitting the reset button again. Just 2 years removed from a 26-win season and an NCAA tournament berth, Lamont Paris's squad fell hard this past year, finishing 2-16 in SEC play. And now the rebuild is on. The return of veteran shooter Miles Stute and the homecoming of Meechie Johnson Jr. gives Paris some familiar faces, but offensive creation remains a massive question mark for the Gamecocks. But it seems the frontcourt may be trending in the right direction, as Norden Kapich and Kreese Sindoko form a tough rim-protecting duo on that end. And defensively, this team could frustrate their opponents, but where they get their offense from will be the big story. But if Paris can somehow recreate his 2023 magic, South Carolina could surprise us, but it feels like another rough ride is more likely. Coming in at number 15 is the LSU Tigers, and they find themselves at a crossroads under Matt McMahon. After another rough SEC campaign, the Tigers returned just 2 rotation players in Jalen Reed and Robert Miller III, and overhaul the roster around them. UNLV transfer Dedan Thomas Jr. gives LSU its best point guard in years as a crafty downhill playmaker who fits LSU's system perfectly. Omaha transfer Markel Sutton was a star last year on a team that came from nowhere to win the Summit League, and Mississippi State transfer big man Michael Nwoko adds an extremely gifted and physical rebounder to the mix, while Miller remains the piece with the most upside after a strong finish to last season. But still, this roster feels more like a mix and match experiment than a finished product, and for the Tigers, it'll be the opposite of South Carolina, as scoring shouldn't be an issue, but defense will be. And if things don't click quickly, McMahon's seat could start to heat up even more in Baton Rouge. Ranked number 14 in the SEC for me is the Georgia Bulldogs, who are hoping Mike White can build on last year's modest step forward even after losing Asa Newell to the NBA. Georgia finished ahead of its preseason projections for the first time in nearly a decade last season, but another climb in the SEC won't come easy. The Bulldogs did return defensive anchor Somto Cyril, who is shot-blocking machine and averaged over 4 blocks per 40 minutes last season, and his presence alone should keep Georgia tough on the interior. Blue Cane also returns to give White a steady perimeter defender and a secondary scoring threat, but the 2 big additions to the roster are BYU transfer Kanan Catchings, a skilled 6'9" forward who can stretch the floor, and Cal transfer Jeremiah Wilkinson, who can handle a major offensive load and score beyond his means at the rim. And both will be very nice pieces for White to lean on this season, but unless this group finds consistent scoring elsewhere, Georgia may be headed for another NIT type season. The Texas A&M Aggies come in at number 13, and they're starting from scratch under new head coach Bucky McMillan, who brings his high-octane, all-gas, no-break system to the SEC. The Aggies return no rotation players, but the newcomers are loaded with talent. Pop Isaacs headlines the transfer class and will bring his quick trigger and deep range to Texas A&M, while the North Alabama transfer Jakari Lane should help orchestrate the offense. Versatile forwards Mackenzie Mbako and Rylan Griffin also joined the team this offseason and will provide spacing and an additional scoring punch. And Bucky's system thrives on depth, so expect the bench to play a huge role as well. The upside for the Aggies is massive, and if these pieces mesh, Texas A&M will be one of the most chaotic and hard-to-guard teams in the entire conference. And although I like the potential of the Aggies, the quality of teams in the SEC is what makes them come in at this spot. Coming in at number 12 is Vanderbilt, and Mark Byington has quickly made the Commodores one of the most intriguing wildcards in the SEC. Byington is already known for his creative lineup experimentation, and this year's group gives him even more flexibility than he had in his first year with the program. Key returners Devin McLaughlin and Tyler Nickel form the foundation, as McLaughlin is a versatile forward who thrives when not overburdened on the inside, and Nickel is one of the league's best pure shooters. And with Jason Edwards and AJ Hoggard no longer in the mix, transfers Frankie Collins and Duke Miles will take over the backcourt duties, and both are dynamic lead guards that bring toughness and ball pressure to the squad, but they must prove they can stay healthy and coexist to be successful. And Byington's system thrives on chaos and possession battles, and this backcourt seems to fit that mold perfectly. And with all of the new pieces the Commodores brought in, they will be a tough out each and every night in the SEC. Ole Miss comes in at number 11 as they keep trending upward under Chris Beard, as they are fresh off the program's first Sweet 16 appearance since 2001. But this year's team looks a lot different than it did last year. The Rebels lost key pieces in Jemiah Brakefield and Sean Padula, leaving Malik Dia as the lone proven returner. And Dia's versatility and scoring punch should make him the centerpiece of the new-look Rebels, as the 6'9" forward is a shot maker who can bully smaller defenders and even stretch the floor at times. And Beard restocked in the backcourt in a major way, with AJ Storr, Keza Griffa, and Travis Perry all transferring in, giving the Rebels a blend of power, pace, and creativity from the guard spot. Storr brings high major scoring pedigree, although he did struggle last year at Kansas, while Griffa's fearless attacking style should fit Beard's up-tempo system perfectly. But the biggest challenge for Ole Miss will be rebuilding their chemistry and rediscovering that defensive identity that Beard's teams are known for. But if the newcomers click early on, Ole Miss has the firepower to stay dancing in March. And coming in at number 10 is Mississippi State, and they enter the season with one of the SEC's most electrifying guards in Josh Hubbard. Hubbard is a 5'11" scoring machine who has powered the Bulldogs' offense for the past 2 seasons. Hubbard's ability to create shots from anywhere, combined with his elite efficiency, makes him the centerpiece of Christian's offensive attack once again. Georgetown transfer Jaden Epps will join him in the backcourt this season, adding another proven scorer into the mix for the Bulldogs, although the defensive fit between the two small guards remains a question mark for me. And with Keyshawn Murphy deciding to transfer to Auburn, Mississippi State went out and got transfer Quincy Ballard, who is a 7-footer whose rim protection and interior scoring could stabilize both ends of the floor for the Bulldogs. And with the new size up front and Hubbard leading one of the league's most dynamic offenses, Mississippi State's a blend of pace and power should keep them dancing in March as well. Ranked number 9 is the Oklahoma Sooners, who enter year 4 under Porter Moser and are looking to turn their recent consistency into momentum. The Sooners made the NCAA tournament last year behind star freshman and NBA lottery pick Jeremiah Fears, but this season's hope rests on a new-look Big Three in transfers Xavier Brown, Nigel Pack, and Tay Davis. Brown's smooth attacking style and elite shot creation should complement Pack's proven shot-making ability in the backcourt, while Davis brings versatility up front after a productive year at Notre Dame. Add in veteran wing Jaden Jones and sophomore forward Darion Reed, and there's legitimate depth and balance here with the Sooners. The key will be rediscovering that signature Moser defense, which faltered late last year, but if the Sooners defend with consistency, they should make it back to the NCAA tournament and have a good chance at making it past the round of 64 this time. The Missouri Tigers come in at number 8, and they are looking to bring some stability to what's been a wild 3-year ride under Dennis Gates. After going winless in SEC play just 2 seasons ago, Mizzou bounced back in a big way last year as Gates led the Tigers to their best season since 2012. And now, with stars Mark Mitchell and Anthony Robinson II returning, the Tigers have one of the best 1-2 punches in the entire conference. Mitchell's versatility and relentless rim pressure make him a matchup nightmare, while Robinson's elite defense and improved playmaking give this team a real edge on both ends. And I think Robinson is going to have a breakout year for the Tigers and could end up on an all-SEC team at the end of the season. Then you have newcomer Sebastian Mack, who adds more toughness and rim attack to the squad, but the losses of shooters Caleb Grill and Tamar Bates could sting for the Tigers. But if Missouri finds consistent shooting elsewhere and leans on their stars, they're a clear NCAA tournament team in my opinion. Coming in at number 7 is the Texas Longhorns, who enter a new era under new head coach Sean Miller. And after 2 uneven seasons under Rodney Terry, the Longhorns hit the reset with a coach who brings structure, experience, and a proven offensive system to Austin. Miller inherits a veteran backcourt led by Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark, both of which are steady scoring guards who can thrive in his motion-heavy attack. Pope's mid-range touch and efficiency should shine in a system built on spacing, while Mark's toughness and length give Texas a defensive backbone on the perimeter. Incoming transfers Simeon Wilcher and Dalen Swain should help add energy and versatility to the Longhorns, as Wilcher brings shooting upside and Swain's defensive instincts should earn him minutes early on. And now, losing Trey Johnson definitely hurts the Longhorns' ceiling, but this group still has enough firepower to compete in the SEC, and I expect Miller's arrival to bring a resurgence to this Texas program, as he's proven he can win at major programs before. Ranked at number 6 in the SEC is the Tennessee Volunteers, who are looking to reload after some key departures from the team in Zakai Ziegler and Chaz Lanier. But Rick Barnes is a coach whose teams are basically automatic for elite defensive rankings, and last season ended with another trademark defensive masterpiece of a team. But this year's squad will look entirely new, returning just 23% of its minutes from last year's team, but anchoring the paint once again is Felix Okpara, who is one of the SEC's best rim protectors after holding opponents to just 53% shooting at the rim. Around him, Cade Phillips brings energy and hustle to the front court, while Maryland transfer guard Jacoby Gillespie offers two-way impact and a steady hand at the point guard position. The biggest addition, though, to the Volunteers is freshman phenom Nate Ament, a 6'9 forward with elite potential and lottery pick-like talent. But there are plenty of questions for this largely rebuilt roster, but with Rick Barnes' track record and an elite defensive core, Tennessee should once again sit near the top of the SEC race. And coming in at number 5 is the Auburn Tigers, who surprisingly enter a new era of their own. After Bruce Pearl's shocking offseason retirement, his son Stephen Pearl now takes over a program that's finished top 5 in KenPom in back-to-back years. And Auburn is losing All-American big man Janiah Broome and high-scoring wing Chad Baker-Mazara to the transfer portal, which are two massive holes to fill, but the backcourt remains in strong hands with sophomore guard Tahad Pettiford, who decided to return to Auburn after withdrawing from the NBA draft in the offseason. And Pettiford is one of the SEC's brightest young playmakers, and I expect him to be the offensive engine for the Tigers this season. Auburn also reloads through the portal with Keyshawn Hall, who is a versatile scorer from UCF, and frontcourt pieces Keyshawn Murphy and Elijah Freeman, both of which are physical, athletic additions that fit Auburn's defensive identity. And with Stephen Pearl's fingerprints already on the program's elite defense, Auburn's floor stays high, even with the departure of Bruce Pearl, in my opinion. But without Janiah Broome anchoring the paint, their ceiling depends on how their new pieces will fit together alongside Tahad Pettiford. Ranked at number 4 is the Alabama Crimson Tide, who also enter a new era of transition but remain one of the SEC's most dangerous teams. After 3 straight Elite 8 or better runs, Nate Oates reloads behind the return of dynamic sophomore guard LeBaron Philon, who's poised to make an All-American leap after deciding to withdraw from the NBA draft and return to college. He'll share the backcourt with former Auburn transfer Aiden Holloway, who's one of the nation's premier shooters, and veteran Latrell Wrightsell Jr., who's working back from an Achilles injury. Former 5-star Jalil Bethea and skilled big man Aiden Sherrill round out a rotation that still packs plenty of offensive firepower despite losing stars like Mark Sears and Grant Nelson, but we will know early on just how good Alabama is, as they will be battle-tested with one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. But I expect Nate Oates' pace and space system to remain elite and for the Crimson Tide to stay firmly in the SEC title chase once again. The Arkansas Razorbacks come in at number 3, and they are looking dangerous in year 2 under John Calipari. And after an up-and-down debut season that ended with a Sweet 16 run, Calipari retooled the roster in his signature fashion, blending elite freshmen with proven veterans. 5-star guard Darius Acuff headlines the group as Cal's next star floor general, and Acuff is a powerful creator with elite burst who will run the show in Fayetteville from day one. He'll also share the backcourt with DJ Wagner, whose steady hand and experience give Arkansas one of the SEC's top guard duos. On the wings, Carter Knox and Billy Richmond III bring size and scoring, while Trevon Brazile returns to anchor a frontcourt bolster by transfers Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle. Now, losing John L. Davis, Adu Thiero, and Boogie Flan definitely hurts this roster, but this roster fits Calipari's blueprint perfectly, and I expect another second weekend March run from the Razorbacks this season, but the ascensions of Darius Acuff and Carter Knox will be the determining factor. Coming in at number 2 is the Kentucky Wildcats, who look every bit like a team ready to make another deep March run, and this time will be under Mark Pope's own blueprint. After leading Kentucky to their first Sweet 16 since 2019, Pope reloaded in the offseason in a big way, surrounding returning players Otega Owe and Brandon Garrison with an elite mix of talent and versatility. Jaden Quaintance, who is one of the best rim protectors in the country, headlines the newcomers and is joined by high motor forward Mohamed Diabate and defensive stopper Denzel Aberdeen. Add in Pitt transfer Jalan Lowe, who will be the Wildcats' lead guard this season, and sophomore Cam Williams, and this roster is already one of the deepest in the entire country. But for Kentucky to truly become a national title caliber squad, the defense will need to be elite, and the offense must weaponize transition possessions while finding enough shooting to score well in the half court. But the talent alone has Kentucky as one of the best teams in the SEC. And coming in as the #1 team in the SEC is the defending national champion Florida Gators, who are set to return to the top of the SEC mountain with a front court that could dominate the sport once again. Todd Golden's squad brings back its entire interior core in Alex Condon, Thomas Houck, Ruben Chinyelu, and Micah Hanlockton, forming what might be the deepest and most physical big man rotation in all of college basketball. Condon's breakout year as a bruising, stretch-capable forward gave Florida an inside-out anchor, while Houck's postseason emergence added energy and efficiency off the bench. Together, this group ranked top 5 nationally in offensive rebounding and top 30 in two-point percentage on both ends of the floor. And while replacing stars like Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, and Will Richard won't be easy, incoming transfers Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee will provide needed scoring and elite playmaking upside for the squad. And with their defense, depth, and championship experience, Florida looks fully equipped to defend its crown and maybe even repeat as national champions. I also wanted to quickly go over my preseason predictions for the SEC Player and Coach of the Year awards, and for Player of the Year, I have Tahad Pettiford from Auburn, as Auburn will lean on the returning point guard to anchor a roster hit by massive turnover, and Pettiford was an SEC All-Freshman last year and showed out at the NBA Draft Combine in the offseason, and I expect him to be Auburn's undisputed #1 option this season and one of the best guards in the country. And for Freshman of the Year, I have Darius Acuff from Arkansas, and he enters Arkansas as the engine of John Calipari's transition offense. Acuff is a powerful, quick guard with elite finishing ability, and he thrives on attacking the paint before defense is set, and he looks to be ready to handle SEC pressure immediately, and the Hawks' ceiling rises or falls based on his impact. For Newcomer of the Year, I have Boogie Fland from Florida, as he decided to transfer to the Gators in the offseason after withdrawing from the NBA draft, and brings elite shot making, self-creation, and court vision with him. And with major pieces in the backcourt missing in Gainesville, Fland instantly upgrades Florida's perimeter attack and offers the Gators a dynamic scoring option as they look to defend their national title. For Defensive Player of the Year, Felix Okpara from Tennessee, and Okpara is Tennessee's rim protector extraordinaire. Last season, he posted a career high in blocks, limiting opponents to just 53.2% at the rim and blocking 16% of his attempts. His presence deters straight-line drives and cleans up perimeter mistakes, making the Vols' interior defense one of the nation's most intimidating, and I see another Defensive Player of the Year award heading to Knoxville this season. And for Coach of the Year, I have Todd Golden from Florida, as he has turned Florida into a national powerhouse in just 3 seasons as the head coach. The Gators' front court dominates inside, and Golden's system maximizes offensive efficiency while controlling the pace on both ends of the floor. And with key front court pieces returning and new contributors like Fland and Xavier Lee, I expect Florida to dominate in the SEC and even have a chance to win the national championship once again. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on my preseason SEC rankings. Was there a team that I ranked way too high or way too low? Also, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, and make sure and stay tuned for more college basketball content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.